Welcome to Alligator Garage. Today we are accompanied by Clint Cannon, the owner of ATS Diesel. Clint, we have your new VFR turbo line in front of us. It seems like there's a lot of issues with the factory VGT turbos across the board. It doesn't matter if it's Ford, GM, or Dodge. They've had issues with VGT turbos. What did you guys change and bring to the table to fix that issue?
You know, there really is. The factory VGT turbos have, vanes, moving parts inside the turbine housing. And as we know, the turbine housings pretty much run at, anywhere from 13 to 1400 degrees. So that kind of temperature inside the exhaust housing has a tendency of expanding and contracting, and you have vanes that are moving around inside of it. So, they're very problematic, especially when you get up to, 50, 100,000 miles and they stick. And of course, the VGT is absolutely necessary for decent performance on any, diesel engine, just because the nozzle has to change, as it's smaller. As the engine is idling at lower speed, the turbine's smaller, so it makes the turbine act as it's smaller. And then as the engine increases in power, then the vanes open, and that allows the engine to breathe more on the top end. So the VGT portion on all of the turbos across the board, Ford, Dodge, and GM, everybody uses a little bit different type of actuation. Right. Ultimately, the end result is the same. It changes the size of it. So like I say, they're very problematic, and there's a lot of areas to gain, not only performance, but reliability in these guys.
Now, does it make a difference whether it's when the exhaust brake is being used, or is it just kind of, doesn't matter if it's idling or just kind of?
It doesn't really matter. The exhaust vanes are always moving. Of course, when the exhaust brake comes on, that means they close almost completely, which means that instead of having a flapper valve in the exhaust, the vanes are slow, they close. So of course, that's one of the first features that you lose when you're talking about a VGT turbo. Right. Is the exhaust brake function, where one of the other things that we have been able to increase the effort on this is we actually can get the vanes that close more, which can give you a little bit better exhaust braking.
Oh, nice. Now there's multiple stages. This is stage 1, and then you have 2 and 3?
Correct. And most of the models between the Ford, Dodge, and GM, we have a stage 2 and a stage 3. The stage 1 is basically a factory type replacement. Yeah. When I say factory replacement, it's still going to give you some performance just because the vane pack flows better. There's more, we've really increased the ability for it to flow air past the vanes into the turbine wheel, so that just means it's more efficient. And with any turbo, the compressor is generally always looked at as the big increase in performance. Right. Of course, a turbo, you should always look at the turbine side as well, because exhaust out is more airflow into the engine. So, less back pressure is always more power.
And that's, I guess the sizes would change depending on your make model type of thing, or is it 3,000, 4,000, 5,000?
It's generally 3, 4, and 5, but for the most part, the wheel size, the compressor wheel size on the stage 1 is the factory size. In many cases, we do upgrade them to a billet wheel for the basic stage 1. Right. Some are the cast wheel, but as far as the basic wheel sizes, the stage 1 is the factory size, and then it goes up a few millimeters from there.
Gotcha. And then your guys' warranty, most of these are new products, reman, you able to, the warranty
most of these components are new. There are some reman componentry inside the turbo, but for the most part, all the wearable items, new actuator in every case, new compressor wheel, new bearings, upgraded bearings in many cases, upgraded compressor wheel in many cases. So it is ultimately basically a reman unit, but it's almost fully new parts. So because of that, we offer a 2-year warranty on it, which
unlimited
is
mileage,
unlimited mileage, 2 years, do whatever you want to do with it. And that is very unique to the industry. Okay. In fact, I think that's totally unique.
Absolutely. And then it comes with the install kit, the gaskets, the O-rings, I guess a little applicator syringe for you to pre-oil. Does that seem to be a common issue that you're getting?
The warranties that we've seen in the past generally tend to be, very early on, like a startup. So we've pretty much eliminated those types of failures because, we send an oiler, so it's kind of nice. You just put it in your jug and fill it full of oil and drop it in and drop some oil inside of it and then bolt it on. And that just gives the turbo that extra life to make sure on the initial fire up as the lines are being purged that there's oil to it. So it's just really good insurance.
We've gotten some calls in the past, the guys smoking turbos, it seems like within the first couple thousand miles, and it's usually not the turbo issue, it's the oiling at the very beginning. So I'm glad you guys are adding that to the kits now.
Yeah, just a little preventive maintenance.
And I'm assuming this is across the line for any VGT turbo applications.
Pretty much everything Ford, Dodge, and GM when they came out with the variable. So of course 03, or 05 Duramax 6-liter Ford 6.4 compounds. That's a really, really nice upgrade on the 6.4 because we give you both turbos and all the actuators upgraded. So it has a brand new Borg-Warner actuator, which means you don't run coolant through it. Right. That's been a really nice piece. The Dodge from 07 to current. So pretty much the entire lineup, Ford, Dodge, and GM across the board.
Did 11 and 14 Fords have more issues than?
They did. The 11 to 14 Ford was one of Garrett's experiments where they basically use a double back compressor wheel. So the compressor wheel sucks air from both sides, and of course it hangs out on the shaft. Right. And it's a very problematic. It's a terrible turbo. So the entire aftermarket has pretty much not had much faith in upgrading that turbo. We just released that turbo with the double back compressor wheel. And it has upgraded bearings, so there's steel ball bearings now. And I'm telling you, the durability test is unbelievable. We actually ran that thing on the test stand for some time without oil in it through the durability test. And
that's what you're saying. The factory one had a different style of bearing, and then they were going out in how many thousand miles? Or
if you run on the test stand, about 8,000 hours in the test stand, they would fail. We ran this last test for 10,000 hours, and then we removed the oil from it. They ran it for another 4,000 hours. And we did not have any failure on the bearings.
And that extra 4,000 was out without
with
oil,
no
right?
oil in it. Yeah, so it's impressive. So we're feeling really, really confident with that one. And it's like I say, it's a complete drop-in, full emissions on turbos. So you literally get in the box, take your old turbo out, drop the new one in, and you're off. And of course, it also has the 2-year warranty on it.
Right. And that's a pretty big deal across the board. Doesn't matter what platform. Is all this works with the factory emission systems.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's great.
Yeah, the VFR series is all designed around performance and emissions, and let's keep everybody reliable in their vehicles and
not get in
safe
trouble.
to sell. That's right. Yeah, we'd like that.
If you guys have any questions at all, just hit us up either through Facebook or email or anyway. We're pretty accessible. We will have all these kits from Ford, GM, and Dodge basically across the board on our website at alligatorperformance.com, and we'll see you next time.